All right. So for today, we're going to be playing a game on my Atari Flashback. So it's a Atari 2600 game called Hero. Um, I've made it pretty far along into the game. Um, I am actually on the tail end of it. So I'm on level. The furthest I've made it is level 14. There's 15 levels before it go. Technically, there's 20 levels, but once you get past level, what is it, 14, or once you get past level 15, it repeats some of the stuff you've already done. As you can tell, it is a fairly unforgiving game, as a lot of games of that time period were, where just slight imperfections in gameplay will result in death, and the controls are not overly tight. Like, you can't really tell right now, but the controller I'm playing on, there's a lot of times where you have to, like, a slight input delay. Shoot. Between what I'm doing and what's actually happening, which is really frustrating when it comes to like stuff like that, where like I need to hover, but there's not really a good hover mechanic, and there's a game over. So, um, what we'll do for this one is, instead of like so this video might be a little bit short because I usually cap myself at like 20 or so deaths before I kind of like just call it, because otherwise I get a little frustrated, and don't really want to play anymore, because which is like kind of sucks, mostly because I'm so close to beating it. Oh, I turned the wrong way. Shoot fire. So like it sucks that I got this close to beating the overall game, and like I have been a roadblock. I haven't made any progress in the last like 5 or 6 sessions. Like, it's a hard enough time just getting back to see. There was that the input delay where like I'm trying to fly away and it won't move. I'm holding up. I'm still falling instead of like actually getting up. So, um, anytime we're playing Hero, which might only be a couple more times because I might end up removing it from my um, rotation just because it has gotten incredibly rough playing. Um, so I might, instead of playing this, switch over and start doing something different. Um, but we'll kind of play it by ear, um, just because um, I don't necessarily want to 100% give up on it, but I also would like to keep my sanity. Um, but we'll kind of see. Damn it to hell. Yeah. I got the Atari 2600 flashback thing that I've been playing on for Christmas a couple years ago for my in-laws, and I have only really played Hero so far, but it's it's fun, kind of like experiencing the old mechanics and stuff. But if you're unfamiliar with that era because you haven't ever played before, to compensate with the limitations of being able to put like big, huge games and stuff on one file, they made up for it by making everything gruelingly hard. Like I was saying, there's technically only 15 different levels in this game, but to compensate for there not being that many games or that many levels, they make the levels really, really hard. So you're like forced to replay over and over again. Um, I obviously, I mean, I say obviously, but if you've never met me in person, I guess it might not be obvious. I didn't grow up during that era, so like I don't know 100% if everything about how the Atari Flashback works the same as like the original Atari or not. So like one of the things that I have appreciated as I get another game over, is that they on at least on the Atari Flashback is you can hit the select button to set it at least kind of skip forward. So once I made some progress, it started out being like every like 5-ish level, or I think it was like 3 or 4 levels. It would give you like a point where you could just restart. So like right now I hit select 4 times, so it's that little 4 that pops up. And that starts me on level 13, which isn't the level I'm on, but that's the closest checkpoint to where I actually made it in the game. Um, son of a bitch. Same damn thing. I'm like barely touching the control stick and it's jumping straight into it. As I turn the wrong way. Son of a bitch. Which sucks because I have to make it through this level to even get to where I last was. And as you can tell, I'm not having an easy go of it. Um, um, I think I've gotten very close to hitting 15 a couple times, but you only have 4 lives. Ooh. Son of a bitch. And it's just the controls aren't tight. Like, you know, it's a product of its time. So as I'm playing, like I know what I want my character to do, but like being able to get the controller to do it, it's like you're almost fighting against the controls the entire time you're playing. Um, which sucks because premise wise, I kind of enjoy this game. Like it's essentially the little guy that I'm playing. He has a helicopter on his back and he's going around in these caves trying to rescue people. So like at the end of each level, someone that you like rescue, and you get points for how quickly you did it, how many sticks of dynamite you saved, or like you didn't have to burn through. But like it is a nightmare game. So like, and you can kind of see. So like this is supposed to be a bat. The little dangly ones that don't move are spiders, I think. So I think that thing right there is supposed to be a spider. Um, like blocks of lava, which I don't understand why using dynamite blows them up, but you know what? I also don't know if I care enough to look into it past that. Um, so you like have to hold up on the control stick to fly, and then you have to press down once you're on the ground to use dynamite. But like you can't. There's not really a good hover mechanic. Like you have to like balance holding up and whatever other direction you're wanting to go. Like I'm literally holding sideways and he's dropping altitude, which is why I keep dying in this area because like I don't know what button to hold. Because if I hold up, he shoots up real fast. But there's a delay between whenever I hold up on the control stick and he actually moves. So if I let him drop too far, I'm not going to be able to recover because he's just going to drop like a log. Whereas if I hold sideways, I get a little bit of time before he completely drops, but there's not a whole lot. So it's just, obviously I haven't figured it out because like even in this gameplay session, like I have just looped through over and over again on the same area, um, and have made zero progress. Which, like I said, kind of sucks because like I'm interested to see the end of it. Um, but kind of as you've seen is I've had to memorize this level just so I might get a chance to play level 14 again. At which point I get to level 15, which I don't have anything memorized because I haven't, because of how grueling it is just to get back to the furthest point I made. Which I'm kind of glad. Like obviously that's not. There's a give and take, right? So some people really like how hard games of this time period kind of were, whereas I'm not probably not going to experience this game all the way to the fullest like reaches just because of how difficult it is to get to that point. Oh my god. Like I literally haven't made it past this screen yet. Um so we'll do I think probably one more. I think you got enough taste and I'm about the point where like if it didn't cost money, I'd probably throw the controller against the wall. Just ball crushing. I think this is my fourth session of playing that I have made zero progress. If anything, I think I've made less progress over the last few sessions because I just cannot. I don't understand. I know there's a pit right there, and instead of going down it, it walked into lava. Like, I just. You know how it is, like, whenever it's of that era where, like, you feel like you're getting punished for something you didn't have control over. Well, marginally close. Okay, one more walkthrough because I got distracted as we were playing there. But yeah, so this one probably won't be featured on Open Game Night much because, like I said, I'm about at the point where like we're just gonna remove it from my like game rotation and try out something else on the Atari, which depressingly wasn't my intent. I wanted to complete it. I've had it in my rotation for a while. Like it was slow progress, but I was making progress, and it's just the last little bit here I stopped making progress in it, which sucks a little bit because I got so close to completing it. It was kind of like whenever I played the original Crash Bandicoot. If you haven't had the pleasure of, I can't remember what the name of the level is, but it's the one where you're like outside the castle, like going up to Cortex's area, and it's I'm holding up. We're not gonna make it, I don't think. Oh, that's frustrating. I'm literally holding up on the control stick. But yeah. Anyways, that Crash Bandicoot level, like you're trying to scale the castle and like just having a very rough time because it's a very long level. There's no checkpoints. Um, Thankfully, even in that game, which I don't, the save system in there is not great because it was like a password system and everything. But there was a save point right before you do that level, so like you could just start on that level, and then I think there's a save point immediately after it as well. So like you get a little bit of a reprieve, but it took me probably like 4 or 5 sessions. I think it was I had marked it off that if I hit 5 sessions without making any progress, like I was just gonna rotate out and circle back to it at a later date. And it was like on session 4 or 5 that I finally beat the level. Um, but it was brutal. And I kind of go into platformers with the same mentality: 20 deaths or levels, and then at that point I kind of like call knock it off, um, because at that point you kind of get a little burnout, like you're just making the same mistakes over and over again instead of like actually progressing. Um, so, but luckily in Crash Bandicoot's case, I managed to overcome and make it through at least the base game. I didn't go back and get like all the gems and stuff. I had zero desire to go back and try and do that because like you have to beat the level without dying and collect all the boxes. It's like, I don't know about that. All right. Well, that's the bane of my existence right there. So this was Hero. If this video didn't appeal to you in terms of difficulty, I don't necessarily advise it. I had fun playing through parts of it. Like it's pretty neat having this helicopter on your back, like going around blasting stuff. I guess I honest to God don't know what the blaster does. I mean, obviously it takes out the enemies, but I don't understand why he has a blaster or sticks of dynamite for that matter. I mean, obviously he's in a cave system, so like that's probably it. Um, I got to remember, and it might be worth looking into, is I think you can destroy, like, in case you run out of dynamite, because they only give you a certain amount of dynamite for each level. So, like, if you happen to blow up a bunch of pillars that aren't the right ones, you can use it. You have a timer that you have to make it through the level, though. So, like, you have to, like, it's probably not good to approach this the entire time, but I think you can destroy pillars by shooting them repetitively with your little laser thing. But you have to balance that with like how much time you have to get through the level. So if you can find the right path, which is why it looks like I know what I'm doing because I played the level and not I'm holding up. He's just standing there like a fucking idiot. Uh, is because I had to memorize the level if I was gonna ever beat it. So, um, oh my god, I wish it's like just one design thing that I would change on this game is unless you're actively holding up or down, you don't change altitude. Like the dropping wouldn't, or even then. So like I kind of like it's a built-in hover mechanic, especially since helicopters kind of already had that. Uh, if they didn't have that, it just shouldn't have like this delay from the input of me holding up and actually moving up. Because like if I just moved up when I wanted to, like you could kind of like Flappy Bird it where like you alternate up and down to like keep level sort of thing. But because that doesn't happen, like you just get punished. But I think that's going to be it for me on this gameplay session. Uh, so this was Hero, which is an Atari 2600 game. I've been Rando Gamer, and I'll catch you guys next time.